Yo, good evening, Titan Nation. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Titans and Truth. I'm your man, Chris, aka Blue Enforcer, and we're going a little bit different for this week. Normally, I come in on Wednesday night, but we kind of got a special episode coming on tonight. So we decided to go Tuesday night instead of Wednesday night because, ladies and gentlemen, I had a special guest that I think y'all are gonna enjoy, and he's the man, the myth, the legend himself, ESPN beat writer for the Tennessee Titans, the great TD himself, Turron Davenport has joined us. Turron, how you doing, good sir?
Hey, what's going on, man? Appreciate you having me on. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I can't really complain very much. I had a crazy wedding I had to do a few days ago, so my voice is kind of beat, but had a great time. So, yeah, everything is good, and obviously it seems to be pretty good with the Tennessee Titans right now since OTAs have begun. So, what I want to ask you first is, with the first practices that are open to the media, what were your takeaways from what we saw today?
Yeah, there was a lot to see. I mean, it's in such a condensed time, like it's hard to pick everything up, but there were different things. I really was impressed with Delanie Walker. I thought that he was ahead of schedule, or at least the schedule that I myself and other members of the media thought he would be on. He looked really good just getting in and out of his breaks. He's always going to catch the football well, so that's no surprise. But he was just very fluid on the field, so that's something that stood out. He works an individual. He didn't do team period, but still, just seeing him out there running around was a good thing for the Titans. Ryan Tannehill, I mean, he was really crisp, and I'm going to just kind of put this ahead before I get into that. He is a really good practice player. That's something that I've heard multiple times from people within the Miami media. So take that for what it's worth. But he did look crisp, and I thought it was nice. He had an opportunity to check it down. Instead of checking it down, he went down the field to Cam Batson on a go route, and it was a touchdown. Kenneth Durden was on the defense, and it was that ball was on the money. So he looked really good, and there's just a little more zip on the ball when it comes off of Tannehill's hands. But quite frankly, I saw the same thing when Blaine Gabbert was here. So it's not something to be overly panicked about as far as comparing it to Mariota, because Mariota, in my opinion, he's more of a game quarterback, and he's just one of those guys where when things are on the table, that's when he rises to his best game. So I'm not going to, say anything to make Titans fans be worried about Mariota. There were a couple throws where it's like, oh, but there were also some where he made a really throw. Take, for instance, there was a deep outbreaking route that he threw to Corey Davis. Now, he was late in releasing the ball. Like, the ball was thrown after Corey Davis made his break. However, Mariota still showed the arm strength to push it outside the numbers, up the field, towards the sideline for Corey Davis to make the catch. I think that's a good sign because it shows the arm strength. So that stood out. Looking at the receivers, I mentioned Corey Davis. He and A.J. Brown seem to be developing a really good repertoire as far as being able to have that mentor-mentee relationship. They've stayed after practice and work. So those are some things that stood out to me. The undrafted free agent, Derek Roberson, is someone that I'm telling you right now, watch out for him. I think this guy is going to make the roster. I think he's going to get some stats just in the same way that Sharif Finch did last year.
Yeah, and I definitely saw some videos on Twitter, first off, with Delanie Walker. I mean, yeah, Delanie Walker looked like he hadn't missed a step even since last season. So he definitely looks like he's close to being back, but I understand that they're definitely taking it slow with him. Tannehill, I think, definitely looks like he's going to be a good backup quarterback. And I know Mike Vrabel in this press conference earlier kind of made it so that, hey, Marcus is our guy. He's our starting quarterback. So I definitely like some of that right there. And, Derek Roberson is definitely one of those undrafted free agents. I agree that is somebody that we need to definitely definitely pay attention to on that. What's up, AZ Mix, Shaolin? Fantastic. Welcome on in. And Another thing I wanted to find out about definitely was now, what did you think of one of our new toys, AJ Brown? How did he definitely look along with Corey Davis?
Yeah, I mean AJ Brown looked good running routes. He looked a little. There were a couple box drills that did during the individual period, and he didn't look the best in that. But again, I mean, you're looking at him going after polished route runners like Adam Humphries, Corey Davis, a guy like Tajay Sharp, who's so definitive in and out of his breaks. It's going to be a little bit of a difference. So you have to understand the context that you're looking at. But I thought it was really good just seeing him work in multiple positions. He said that he's being forced to learn everything. And there's more routes that are included for him. So it's going to take a bit of an adjustment. The good thing is he's not playing – like he's not a guy like Hollywood Brown who relies on speed, right? He's a guy that doesn't have to play extra fast because his separation, for the most part, is with his big body. So that's a good thing that should help him kind of overcome that learning curve. But he looked good. The dude catches the football really well. There's an extreme level of confidence that he brings in catching the football, and you see it not only in just watching him literally catch the ball, but in watching him run through the catch and get those yards after the catch. It's something you saw so many times at Ole Miss. That was why he was such an outstanding receiver there. So he stood out. Corey Davis, like I said, has some nice catches. He looks a little bit like he looks very smooth, and it's just another progression in his. I mean, he's only in year 3, and here he is in year 3 being asked to be a mentor for a rookie. And I think that's something that, is really going to help define him as a guy that's a cornerstone for that offense.
Yeah, and I did my research on AJ Brown. Definitely, for a lot of you listening right now, of course, you could definitely go back and look at my draft coverage about the wide receivers. I had AJ Brown as one of my top receivers on my board. As far as, good route runner, definitely good in the screen. I think he's a little bit faster than people give him credit for. Maybe not, definitely not as fast as Hollywood Brown or even Paris Campbell, but the guy got some zip with some run after the catch. So I was definitely very impressed with that. Now, switching to the defensive side of the ball, I saw the press conference with Cameron Wake, and I heard some people on the radio saying that the guy looks like a legit badass. I mean, he looks jacked. And so I got to wonder, Cameron Wake might be sticking around for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think – his deal was, a 3-year deal, I think it was. So
that's right.
I mean, I don't think he has any intentions of retiring or not playing after this year. But it all depends on what his body tells him throughout the year. But, yeah, he looks like he's in great shape. That's something he pride himself on, throughout his career, being a superb, being in elite shape. And it's just – he always has brought that, going back to his Miami days. And I know that he's done some things more recently to change his diet to be in better shape and continue to maintain that shape. So I don't think he has any intentions of not playing, but he is a full go right now, as a player as well as a mentor. I asked him about DeAndre Walker, and he said that he feels like it's his role to pay it forward, just the same as when he was a young player in the league with the Dolphins with Jason Taylor and Joey Porter. He learned from some really good guys, and he asked them questions, and they always gave him the answers that he was seeking. And he said that he's feeling that process happen now. I know Sharif Finch is someone who's really asked him questions. DeAndre Walker, when I talked to him, he didn't really hint that Wake was a guy directly that he was talking to, but Jayon Brown has spoken to him. Rashaan Evans, he's definitely going to be a guy that is the uncle of the edge defender group.
Yeah, and that was something that I was definitely impressed with too, because I remember him talking about that as far as, not just still being in prime shape, but passing on knowledge to the young players, because he wants them to be able to pass knowledge on to younger players behind them. So that was something I was very impressed with me on that. But also, with Jarrell Casey coming back, and I know we got Jeffrey Simmons recovering from injury. I heard there was a few notable players that were out right now, like Adoree Jackson. I think was dealing. He had he had a surgery on his foot or ankle, so he was not able to do OTAs. Jack Conklin, obviously, and Jonnu Smith, I believe, is still recovering from injury as well. I know there's no official injury reports right now, but is there anything we could talk about as far as on the injury front?
Yeah, I mean, they're not really. They don't, especially during the phase 3 of the OTAs. They're not going to detail any injuries. You're just not going to have that. I will say Jonnu Smith did come out after practice was over, and he went over to the jugs machine. I tweeted that, and it was something that a lot of people overlooked. But I think that's a really good thing for Jonnu, going out and getting that extra work off of the jugs machine and just doing what it is that he has to do to get better and be comfortable as he prepares himself for what should be a good season for him. So, or as Mike Vrabel would say, he would slap my hand if I said good, a great season for him. So when you look at just, everything entailed, I mean, Adoree, obviously the foot injury, the ankle injury, the procedure. And another thing about Adoree, by the way, and Ian Rappaport reported it first. I confirmed it with some of the people in Adoree's camp, but he paid for the young man, Jalen McKenzie, who in East St. Louis. He paid for his burial. Ezekiel Elliott paid for the funeral services. Adoree paid for the burial, and I think that's something that it's going unreported. And it's unfortunate that only one outlet. I have an article. Hopefully, at some point, it's popping up on ESPN.com. I submitted it. It's just unfortunate that a story like that is not getting the attention that it deserves, because we all know if Adoree Jackson, got popped for some nonsense, every single outlet in America would have that listed.
Yeah,
that's something that we as media have to do better on, and that's a whole different conversation that I could embark on, and I'm just going to stop so I don't get too far into that. But Again, Adoree, he had the procedure. He'll be back at some point. This is all voluntary. Conklin, it just – that's a wait-and-see thing. We really have to see. And my thing is not as much the physical part of it. It's the mental part of it. I want to see where he is, because last year was not a good year for him. And
I agree.
Obviously – he was recovering from the knee. That's something that definitely got in the way for him. But I don't think he felt like the All-Pro, the Pro Bowl caliber player that he's capable of being last year. And I just wonder how that messed with his confidence. I wonder how that messed with his psyche on the football field.
Yeah, and to go back to what you were talking about with Adoree, yeah, I did read that earlier. I saw that on Bleacher Report and saw the picture and read about that. That's an incredible act that Adoree was able to do along with Ezekiel Elliott. Because I mean, it's sad something like that happened, but that is something that does need to be chronicled. And I believe there was something that happened last week. I think a young lady's parents, mom or something passed away, or a young lady passed away, and they got to play on the field. And they were playing on the field with Logan.
Her mother died in a car accident, and Logan and Kevin Byard jointly paid for the funeral services. Yeah. And by the way, this is a young lady who got a scholarship to play college football. Wow. So, and she's the first non-kicker to get that. So I think that really is something to definitely note. It is a quite an accomplishment.
Hey, and that's one thing about it. Like here on Titans and Truth, this is a family show. So anything good, any good deeds that are happening out there, that is something that needs to be applauded, and that is something that definitely needs to be talked about, especially with all the craziness that's going on in the world. Something like that, a young lady getting a scholarship that's not a kicker. I mean, that's incredible. That could lead to more young ladies playing football or something like that. And hey, anything that could grow the sport. If a young lady feels she can play football, I got absolutely no problem with that. And so I definitely give a shout out to Adoree, to Logan, to Kevin Byard. Again, of course, some of y'all may have not heard. Kevin Byard is going to be a father, going to be having a little girl. So, congratulations to the mayor of Murfreesboro, Kevin Byard, becoming a father. So that was great. And if y'all have any questions with TD while he's on with us right now, definitely put your questions in, and we're definitely going to talk about that. Now, some news, of course, came out earlier today, really late last night into earlier today, that the Bucs decided to part ways and release Gerald McCoy, the defensive tackle who was picked number 3 in the draft. And then, of course, the Bucs turned right back around today and signed Ndamukong Suh to a 1-year deal to go into Tampa Bay. Excuse me. No financial details were put out, but with Suh going to the Buccaneers, do you think it's possible, even though John Robinson's connected to him, maybe Gerald McCoy should make a stop in Nashville?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that would be intriguing. It's something that would obviously help the defense, especially from a pass rush perspective, because McCoy is he's a home wrecker, man. Like, he will go in and wreck the home, meaning the backfield of an offense. So he would clearly be a really good option for them. I think the thing that's also really appealing is you're getting a talented player. You're getting a guy who once was one of the best at his position and is still in the mix for that. You're getting him motivated. You're getting an extra motivated version of Gerald McCoy. This is a guy that was supposed to get $13 million. The team, did him dirty. I mean, I'll say the truth. That's what happened. They did him dirty. And now here he is in a situation where he's looking to get back on track and show that he is much better than what he's getting credit for. And that's another thing when you look at these players. I mean, so often when they hold out or when they try to get a deal altered to get more money, the fans always get on these players for doing that. But I'm just, it's disappointing to not see fans get on the Bucs for what they did to Gerald McCoy. He signed that contract. He signed the deal, right? That's what they always say if a player asks for more money. Oh, you signed the contract. You got to live up to the contract. Well, the Bucs signed the contract. They were supposed to give him $13 million. They didn't want to, so what do? They fired a guy that for 9 years gave them everything he had. Yeah. I think that has to be noted.
And I definitely agree, because I mean, this is how I feel when it comes to that. When it comes to players wanting more money or wanting a bigger deal or something like that, I feel like this. If you've given great play, good, consistent play over the years, then absolutely you deserve that money, without a doubt about it. At the same time, once you get that money, you should do the same thing and, show, hey, justify, hey, they paid me and I'm going to show them that they were right to do so. Because I guess that might be where my opinion comes in. For example, a while back with Chris Johnson, when he was here, incredible running back, without a doubt. 2,000 yards rushing, only 6 other NFL players have done that. So hopefully I got my history correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. But one of the very few players to rush for 2,000 yards, and I believe has the single season record for most yards from scrimmage, if I'm not mistaken, as far as that, or one of the tops. Now, once he got paid, which deservedly so, I hated he held out, but I did agree he deserved the money. But then after that happened, it's like everything kind of just went downhill from there. Once he got the money, he figured, hey, I'm good. I got my money. I ain't got to play as hard. And I think, as a fan trying to get into the media and trying to see things more objectively, I'm trying to also see it from the player's point of view. Yeah, you should be paid for your play, but at the same time, you did have a contract. Try to live up to it. Hey, if your organization paid you, show them that gratitude by keeping on playing. And so I think that's just my opinion. Feel free to correct me if I'm somewhat incorrect on that, but hey, my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the business is. It's opinion based. So
So, absolutely. And I definitely agree with that because I'm with you on that. I think, and we were talking about this before, I think Gerald McCoy, is a guy that you could bring him in for a year or two. I would love him next on the opposite side of Jarrell Casey. And at least until Jeffrey Simmons is back fully healthy, you bring in a guy like McCoy, you move Daquan Jones to nose, and you have a pretty solid front three along with Wake and Landry. That's a pretty solid front five. And then I think once Jeffrey Simmons is ready, Jeffrey Simmons has shown at Mississippi State he could play some nose at least. So you could maybe play him at nose a little bit, at least let him get his feet wet. And then, hey, after a year or so, if you want, you can let McCoy walk. Simmons takes his place. Hey, everything is copacetic from there. So I definitely like that. Now, there is another possibility that I just read up upon. Saw this on Bleacher Report. I believe it was through an article by Skylar Carlin of Clutch Points. Read this article basically saying that there are 3 teams that should be calling the New York Jets right now in regards to defensive lineman Leonard Williams. 3 teams were the Arizona Cardinals, the Denver Broncos, and your Tennessee Titans are the 3 teams that in this article were mentioned should be a team that could talk to the Jets about Leonard Williams, especially with them in disarray right now. And I, for one, I was on the Leonard Williams train. I said I wanted Leonard Williams more than I wanted Marcus Mariota in that draft. So my question to you, TD, is if you were John Robinson, would you be calling Adam Gase and the Jets right now saying, hey, I'll give you guys a 4th or a 5th rounder. Let's see if we can get Leonard Williams here.
Why would the Jets part ways with Leonard Williams? I mean, and this is that article, whoever, I don't know who that person is, but I mean, that's just, you just kind of just throwing something out there and just seeing if it'll stick. I mean, there really isn't anything that yeah, I don't see any reason why the Jets would trade Leonard Williams. They have plenty of money. He's a cornerstone in their defense. Now, when I say I don't see why they would trade him, I'm talking about for a 4th or 5th round pick. He is obviously in the final year of his deal, right? $14.2 million this year.
That's right.
So if the Titans were to trade for him, what do they do next year?
That's a good and that is a very valid point. That is something we all will have to think about because Leonard Williams was indeed in that same draft class as Marcus Mariota. Of course, Dallas is going to have that issue coming up with Amari Cooper because, as you stated, he's going into the 5th year. So we got to resign Marcus. We got to resign Kevin Byard. Will we have money for Leonard Williams as well because he's going to have to be re-signed? And I mean, true enough, the Jets shouldn't trade him, but if they're crazy enough to do it, I would at least see if I could throw it off out there, maybe throw a bone to him.
If the past is crazy enough to trade Randy Moss, why not make that deal too? I mean, it just there's just some things you have to sort through the nonsense.
That's true.
And I don't see really the value of entertaining this. I mean, every team in the league could use a Leonard Williams. So why are we just saying 3 teams could it just I don't see the value in that one. And just especially like you mentioned, there's a team that you got Jayon Brown coming up. You got, Byard coming up, like you said. You got a decision on Mariota. Byard's going to get paid.
Oh, absolutely.
That team is going to do what they need to do to keep him, and he's the best safety in the league, so he's going to get paid.
Absolutely.
Now,
absolutely.
You have other players that are going to be coming up in defensive tackles in this day and age. The way things are getting back to real football, where you have to be strong up the middle, teams are placing an emphasis on defensive tackles, right?
Yeah.
You had one that went top 5 this year.
That's right.
And you look at how many got drafted overall. I mean, one of the highest paid defensive players is what? A defensive tackle, and Aaron Donald.
Yep.
You see Fletcher Cox, $100+ million guy. You see the emphasis being placed on defensive tackles. So that tells you two things. A team is not likely to deal one when they have a young one like this that they drafted and develop. And then in addition to that, even if you are able to finagle some type of deal for it, you're going to have a quarterback contract and a top level defensive line contract. You're not going to be able to invest in all of the roster the way you need to. And I'm sorry, with Mariota, he is someone where you have to invest in the roster and put pieces around him. He's not that guy that's going to elevate everyone else. So, I mean, the Leonard Williams thing is, you know, I don't think that's really something to entertain, frankly.
I would have to say like Biggie Smalls. It was all a dream.
Yeah.
You know, and you're absolutely right about that, because I mean that was a big emphasis. I mean, you saw it. 5 defensive tackles win the first round. I mean, you had Quentin Williams, you had Christian Wilkins, you had Jeffrey Simmons, Dexter Lawrence, Jerry Tillery, who I know you are a big fan of, coming out of Notre Dame. So, I mean, that's 5 right there that were coming out. And that's not even counting, you know, edge rushers, you know, with Bosa and Allen, Sweat, Burns coming out. So, I mean, yeah, front players on the defensive side, and, you know, was very valuable. And, I mean, it's always been said, the best way to build a defense, especially this particular type, is right up the middle. From nose tackle to middle linebacker to safety. And, you know, I think, you know, and we got one of our own, you know, possibly with Jeffrey Simmons. So, you know, we're building it the right way. So I'm glad I was able to get your thought on that. But last thing I wanted to mention with you, and you actually mentioned it, and I know a lot of guys like CW and Classic Rod that's on here, it all comes down to good old number 8 at the end of the day. We ride or die with number 8. And my question to you with Marcus is, he seemed really calm in the press conference. It seemed, you know, glad to be back on the field, getting his, you know, feet under him and getting his, you know, getting some throws in. So with Marcus going into a contract year, and it doesn't seem like the contract is really a big concern, how you feeling on Marcus? Is do or die for him?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is do or die for him, and that's no secret. That's the theme of this offseason, and it's going to be the theme of the season itself. And I talked about putting pieces around him. They've done that. We haven't even gotten into Adam Humphries, who I think is going to be an excellent option for him, a safety net for him. Deion Lewis was catching a lot of passes today. He's still going to be a factor. The running game is going to be a factor. A.J. Brown, we touched on him. Corey Davis. Delaney Walker's back. You got Jonnu Smith, the 12 personnel package. Derrick Henry, the offensive line. We could go on. And they did things to make the defense better as well. So everything that a quarterback needs has been added. So I think Mariota is in good shape to be able to go out there. And, yeah, he may have been calm in the press conference today, but I sensed an edge with him too, because he said he doesn't care what other people thought. You know, Mariota is not the type of guy to have those type of comments, you know, when he's asked a question. But you could tell that he's kind of bristling at it, and he's ready to, you know, is the quarterback that they need to invest in the future.
Yeah, and I like that because, like a couple of guys had comments, Classic Ride, my guy saying that, hey, if the game's on the line, he wants Marcus. You know, definitely a baller. CW said, you know, Marcus, he has that clutch gene, and I definitely agree. You know, when the game is on the line, Marcus knows how to step up, and, you know, I kind of think of it sometimes, even though I know that Ryan Tannehill is not a threat to, you know, he's the backup. But I think in the first time of his career, Marcus, you know, not really has to look over his shoulder, but he's going to turn his head just a little. I mean, like, Tannehill's back there. You know, I'm not worried about him passing me, but I know at any moment if something happens, he's going to be up. So I know it comes down to the offensive line, as some of the people have said on there. K True, what's up with you? Shake your head about Sue. I like that. And right now with Mark, he has every opportunity to succeed now. I'm with Marcus. I know there's a lot of people that are turned off with Marcus. I don't know why. I mean, but I think that, this is Marcus's time to shine. And I think he is ready to show everybody, hey, I am the guy. I am the guy that's ready to be this team long term. And I said this on a previous show, maybe a couple of weeks ago. This is my expectation for Marcus. 15 games, with that last one being that we done wrapped up a playoff spot or wrapped up the division, and we sit them and prepare them for the playoffs. 3,500 yards, and I would say 30 touchdowns, 12 picks. That's about my expectation for Marcus. In your opinion, are my expectations a little too lofty, right on the line, or am I undervaluing that?
I think it's reasonable given what's here on the team surrounding him, and yeah, I mean, I could see that happening.
Definitely with that. So, of course, you being the famous guy that you are, we know that you have a great show that you record on Wednesdays, Talking with TD. You guys can find that on the 102.5 The Game app, and also on anywhere where you get your podcast, SoundCloud, and everything with that. What you got coming up this week?
Well, the show will be up, and I have some other things in the works, so just stay tuned. ESPN.com, TheGameNashville.com. The podcast is Talking with TD, so stay tuned.
Definitely with that. Let's see. See if we have a few other questions. Got a couple of comments. I know Shaolin Fantastic says 3,800 yards, 32 touchdowns, 13 picks. Let's see. Classic Ross said I'll be happy with 3,020 touchdowns. Let's see. I see CW coming in saying, do you guys know that Marcus has the second best deep accuracy in the NFL? Now, I know a lot of people have questioned his deep throws, but I think he's gotten a lot better with throwing the ball down the field more than he was starting off. Of course, we all know within the numbers, he's money. He's money within our numbers, and that's why you got guys like Adam Humphries and A.J. Brown. But to get you out of here on that, what do you think about Marcus's deep ball accuracy?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that is just going to improve with timing. He had a slight disconnect with Cam Batson on one, and Tannehill was able to connect, but it just stay tuned. It's something that's going to get better, and it's not a bad thing. It's just you get him off of play action. He showed in the Jets game that he could hit Taywan on deep throws. So I don't think it's, at this point right now, anything that you're seeing, don't get too high or too low on. It is what it is right now, and that's practice. It's fine-tuning. It's like the spring training when a pitcher is working on a curveball he never threw before. You can't get too high or too low about anything that they're doing.
All right. Well, and I definitely look forward to some position battles. I know one definitely is at the right guard position, definitely within the interior of the offensive line. We'll definitely talk about some position battles coming up. So, I've been talking with our guy, Turron Davenport, ESPN reporter for the Tennessee Titans. Anything else you want to say to the people before you get out?
All right. Appreciate it, man. Take care.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll definitely be talking. All right, y'all. That was Turron Davenport, ESPN reporter for the Tennessee Titans. And you definitely can check him out with his articles on ESPN.com, as well as on the 102.5 The Game app. Talking with TD. He has a lot of great content and a lot of great footage. You got to check him out. He is on it when it comes to the Tennessee Titans, without a doubt. So, going back off of a lot of what he said, and I'm telling you right now, Marcus seems to have an edge to him that, hey, he out here to win. He ain't out here to please everybody no more, which I like. You got to have a little moxie with you, and I think that's come, especially with him growing the mustache now. So I think that's definitely come up with that. So, like I said, those are my expectations. I expect him to meet it. What's up, everybody? I appreciate y'all comments and everything with that. I know I couldn't get to everybody's comments because I was making sure TD got everything in because he's a busy guy, but I appreciate him coming on with that. And that's some of the content you're going to get with Titans and Truth without a doubt. So, CW said, I think CD is going to have more deep shots this season. Now defenses are not going to be able to double him now as much. Double him now. AB for AJ Brown. Humphries and Walker are going to make coordinators regret that. I agree. And you know what? We really did not even talk about Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is going to be a big part of this offense. I think this offense is going to go as far as Derrick Henry takes them. So Derrick Henry is going to have to run his tail off. And, Deion Lewis is going to be a big help to that as well. So, we could make some defenses very, very uncomfortable in that instance. So this is phase 3 of the off-season training program. Of course, you have voluntary workouts. You have the rookie mini camp. Now you have OTAs. They do it 3 times a week for the next 3 weeks. So I know they had practice yesterday that was closed to the public, practice today, practice tomorrow, and then they'll be off, and then they'll come back with some practices next week, and then in the first week of June, and then they're going to have a mandatory mini camp June 11th through the 13th. And then after June 13th, the players are going to be off from that time until training camp. So that's what we got coming up. Definitely stay tuned. I'll be definitely trying to provide some of the best footage that I can. And I really give thanks to Turron Davenport on that. But 2 other things I wanted to go on before we do get ready to call it a day. And I'm going to just go back to some comments I saw earlier. Definitely I agree. I think Gerald McCoy will be a nice signing, definitely to help with Jeffrey Simmons coming along. CW said, I would love McCoy, carried the defense with no help. Last year needed secondary help, and they drafted Vita Vea over Derwin James. And also saw that he had a rating of 78.6, which is actually pretty good. Blue Fire, DeAndre, what's up with you? And everything. So, yeah, we definitely got to keep him away from the Colts because I saw some story on Music City Miracles talking about the Colts being a juggernaut. So we definitely got to be careful with that. Yeah, the Leonard Williams trade will be a little bit crazy. Money-wise, it will be a bit of a question, but still would love it. I was banging on the table for him. So Zarice Hoyt, what's up with you? That was, again, Turron Davenport, ESPN writer for the Tennessee Titans, joining us tonight. And I thank him very much for his time. Thank you very much for coming on with that. So that's just some of the stuff that I was thinking about. But a couple of blue bombshells that I want to drop. First off, some crazy news that happened this week. Of course, a lot of you will probably watch First Take. There's some turmoil in the NBA with Magic Johnson's interview. Of course, him leaving the team as president. And the whole thing with the GM, and they didn't let him have his power, and, didn't let him make decisions, and, everybody else wanted to be involved. Now, I am a basketball fan, and I know this is more of a Titans-centric show, but I have thought about bringing in a little bit more news on other things going on, whether it's in the NFL or just in the world of sports, to kind of spread it out. My thing is with this, and I don't really have a lot of experience, with management in basketball, but let me tell you, when you're a executive and you are hired to do a job, and that's in any occupation, you want to be able to do your job the way that you were hired to do it. You don't want to be trying to make a decision but then everybody else wants to have an opinion and wants to make a decision for you. That's not the way to do business. And the Los Angeles Lakers look like idiots right now. Because first of all, this is Magic Johnson we're talking about. Irvin Magic Johnson, one of the greatest NBA players of all time. And the dude is doing pretty darn well business-wise too. I mean, he's helped the Dodgers stay relevant and helped them to a World Series. And this guy, the greatest Los Angeles Laker to ever suit up in purple and gold, and that's the way y'all gonna treat him? Come on, man. I know there's some other things that's going on. I know there's some other things that happen. You know, they were talking about how Magic didn't talk to LeBron. I didn't really have a big deal with that because, I mean, sometimes you have to explain yourself to everybody. You know, and I know he was on the First Take with Stephen A. Smith. I listened to Stephen A. Smith, you know, especially after last week. I am a Stephen A. fan, without a doubt. But I just thought it was crazy how all of that went down, you know, with all of that. And now the Lakers are in worse shape and looking like the laughing stock of the NBA, and it hurts their free agency point. You know, that kind of reminds me of the Titans. We were in turmoil about 8 years ago, about 7, 8 years ago, when Bud Adams passed, Tommy Smith took over, and he hired Ken Wisenhunt over the phone. Didn't even bring him in for a formal interview. And then all of that stuff went down, and then Amy Adams Strunk had to come in and clean up the mess. Rustin Webster wasn't working out, and so we had to bring in John Robinson, which now the ship has been put together. So my thought on that is it's just a damn shame. It's a damn shame what's happening in LA. It's messed up, but hey, I'm in Tennessee with the Memphis Grizzlies with the number 2 pick in the draft. And that's going to hurt their free agency because ain't nobody going to want to go there into that turmoil, even though they got a new head coach. I just don't know. And LeBron is probably like, I've got to get out of here. But he can't. So, you know, it's a damn shame what's going on. And that's just my opinion on that. Reading up some other comments. Once again, we have to face Sue, Lord Drago Smitty. And I'm not really worried about facing Sue. We'll be fine. And, you know, the offensive line, I agree with a lot of you. The offensive line is key. There's going to be a big battle. Will it be Nate Davis or Kevin Pamphile at right guard? And I don't think Ben Jones' center spot is safe either. So Corey Levin could definitely come up on it. And Corey Davis, Adam Humphries, A.J. Brown will be starting. Tajay Sharp or Taywan Taylor. And I hate I didn't get to ask TD about this. I think one of those guys does not make the team. Honestly. I don't think one of those guys make the team. Truth be told. So that's just my opinion. Let's see, Charlotte Fantastic said, I gotta control my language. You make me get my cursing in order. I definitely like that. I try my best not to cuss on the show. It's a family show. That's what I try to do. And everything. So what's up, Titan Town? How's it going? Charlotte Fantastic. I'm a noob, but we on the same team, but different colors. I agree. I give some respect to Kappa Alpha Psi. You know, I give some respect to Kappa Alpha Psi, even though I am Phi Beta Sigma, no doubt about it. But I give some respect to Kappa Alpha Psi. So cool beans, I appreciate y'all. So, hey, tell your other new brothers to come on and get in on this show. Get in on it and we'll have some fun with that. CW said, I don't think the Colts will be as good as last year. Teams did not know what to expect from them. Now they do. They have a whole offseason to study. I agree. We did have a whole offseason to study. And that is something that we could use. We got to be able to play them now. Titan Town, what's up with you, man? Long time no see. Let's see. Titans Wire. Okay, what's up? Congratulations on that. Congratulations on that. And Joseph said, good stuff from TD. I think the same thing. We should bring in Gerald McCoy until Simmons is healthy. I never liked that. And so let's see. CW said he treated the Lakers as a side piece. I did hear that. I did hear some people say some stuff like that because, they were saying that he was only in his office some of the time and things like that. He wasn't fully there. But here's the thing about that. He said it himself that he said it when he was talking to Jeannie Buss about taking the job. He said, hey, I got other businesses that I'm going to be taking care of too. I may not always be in the office every day, but I will oversee and do what I'm supposed to do because she already had other people delegated to certain things. So he was just supposed to be an overseer. He said that in the beginning. So, he works hard. He has other businesses. And if the Lakers did not understand that, that should have been said in the very beginning. And I'm not saying what Magic did was right or wrong. That's not for me to clarify because I don't know enough about the situation. I'm just saying that, hey, if the terms are put out, you know what to expect and there won't be any surprises. So the Lakers can't act shocked when he may not be in his office all the time. But his word should have been the final word, and it seemed like it wasn't. So that's where the problem lies. And that's just what I thought. Let's see. CW said, I love that the Lakers and all New York teams are a dumpster fire. Sounds about right. Lord Draggle Smitty says, even a side piece in Magic's hand is more valuable than a diamond in a person like James Dolan's hands. True. Because I think the Lakers will come back up a lot faster than the Knicks will. So that is definitely something with that. Hey, that's how we definitely do things. We got to be able to put out a story. That is how Wiz got hired and things like that. Titan Town is how we trying to get into the media somehow. So that's something we got to do. We got to be able to get the good story. Let's see. DeAndre said 25 touchdowns, 10 picks. Not bad. I'm definitely down with that. So CW said Luck will be beaten by the Titans this season. Casey is fed up. I agree. I am definitely agree. And our division is going to be very, very, very competitive. I definitely agree with that. It's going to be a competitive division. We got 4 solid quarterbacks. So it's not going to be easy for anybody to come out of that division, even the Colts. So we got to be ready to take them all on. But one other thing before we get out of here, I know we got some Game of Thrones fans in here, and I know there are some that are not. So if you hadn't seen Game of Thrones, I'll try my best not to spoil it. But the ending I did have some questions about. And let's just say, plain and simple, I wasn't a big fan of the ending because I just felt like it left me with more questions. And for those of you who haven't seen Game of Thrones or in the process of looking at it, hey, I won't spoil it. Go check it out. And maybe later this week on Facebook, I will actually give my thoughts on Game of Thrones after a few more days. Now, after a couple more days, if you hadn't seen it, then shoot, forget it. I'm going to spoil it. It's over. So, Game of Thrones, I enjoyed it. I felt the last season was rushed, trying to get to the end. But for the most part, I love Game of Thrones. I thank you. It was great. Hey, not agreeing with who they chose as king, how some people died and stuff. But hey, I love the violence. I really, really do. CW said, I have not watched one episode and probably won't. Understood. Here's one. Greatest non-division rivals. Okay. That might be a good show to do, Titan Town. I may have to look up on that. Chiefs, Chargers, Steelers, Browns, or Ravens. Definitely some good rivalries outside of the AFC South. I agree. K2 saying, I think they'll split. He thinks we'll split with the Colts. I wouldn't mind that at all. CW, the Ravens outside of this division is the greatest rival. Now, I agree. I think the Ravens or the Steelers could be one of our greatest rivals outside of this division, without a doubt. We had some great games against both of those teams, without a doubt. Lord Dragul says GOT more popular is a more popular Spartacus. Now, that's one I'm going to have to watch. I'm going to have to go and watch some Spartacus, without a doubt. I've checked that out. And let's see. Yeah, we got to take care of that with the Ravens sacking Marcus 11 times. I didn't like that at all. So, but hey, y'all, look, that's going to be it for me tonight. Hope everybody enjoyed the show and everything with that. Y'all know where to find me. Make sure y'all share the show out on Facebook, TNT Enforcers page, Instagram at Titans_N_truth, on Twitter, TNT Blue Enforcer. And, of course, I'm going to be updating the website. I plan on having the website up to date, definitely by training camp. I'll have the website up to date and ready to go. So I thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all share this out and comment on YouTube or comment on Facebook. What do y'all think the next topic should be of conversation? We'll probably talk more about OTAs next week. And what I want y'all to do, I want y'all to spread the word to the ladies that are Titans fans or football fans. I want to get some more females to watching the show as well. So spread the word, y'all. Put it out. CW, I will definitely see you next time. Classic Ride, don't you work too hard on that third shift. And AZ Mick, what's up with you? I appreciate you as always. Joseph, thank you, man. But y'all, I am out of time. Thanks again to my man Turron Davenport for coming on. Titans the Truth. We're going to tighten up. OTAs continue. And we are going to win some games. Tightened up. Let's get tightened up. Hold on. Let me take y'all out with our song. And y'all know how we do. Y'all know how we do.
Tighten up. Let's get tightened up. Tightened up. Tightened up.
If we didn't play it at the top.
It's a brand new dance and we about to go live. Tighten up. Nashville, rep the 615. First you tighten 2 steps, step to the right. Then you tighten 2 steps, step to the left. Blue jerseys everywhere. Game face, yeah, we got it on. Sticking out our chest, beating on it like it's King Kong. Countdown. 3, 2, 1. It's about to get rough. Here come the train, y'all. Tennessee, tighten up. Tighten up. Let's get tightened up. Tighten up. Let's get tightened up. Sticking out my chest, beating on it like it's King Kong. Sticking out my chest, beating on it like it's King Kong. Tighten 2 steps, step to the right. Do the tighten 2 steps, step to the left. Sticking out my chest, beating on it like it's King Kong. Sticking out my chest, beating on it like it's King Kong.
I'll holler at y'all. Tighten up.